I'm Kelsey Grace. So this is my screencast presentation. So just a little bit about me first. My job, I am a first grade teacher and I teach at Gettysburg Area School District. I just started my 4th year teaching first grade. A couple hobbies, I play volleyball, reading, and then just spending time with family and friends. And a fun fact or something brand new, I got 2 new puppies this past summer. So Flynn is on the left and Murphy's on the right, and they occupy a lot of my time. For my experiences in an online environment, I've had some as a student and some as a teacher. So as a student, I've been in online classes in my undergraduate and graduate career. And in my experiences, I've found that some of these classes can be really vague or superficial. And I've also had classes that have been very purposeful, to the point, and beneficial for me. I definitely feel like what you put into it is what you get out of it. And I know that we hear that a lot, but as far as an online learning environment, I truly feel like that's true. And then as a teacher, I use different apps in my classroom, such as Seesaw, where I can assign work and students complete and submit online work or videos. So on this application that I've used in the past, I'm able to give feedback and students can comment on my feedback. So we have a little bit of an online learning environment within our classroom. This is something that's really new for me, and it was kind of a learning curve whenever I tried it this past year. I found that I had some difficulties managing some of the aspects of that, such as students who were really intrigued with the idea of commenting back on their posts to me or making videos, and because of that, they completed less work that I assigned to them, and therefore they completed less of the content because they were just caught up in using the technology. So I think that that was a little fault of my own, but I'm excited to learn how to make that a little bit better and more efficient and beneficial for my own students. For the first response, I chose this statement about good teaching is good teaching. So I felt like an online teacher presented that statement because they feel they're still working really hard to help each student succeed and grow based on their level. So they feel that they're effectively delivering content to their students in an engaging and lasting way, which focuses a lot on the academic side, and of course that is a priority for us. However, I feel that relationships are really key in teaching. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has students who come and visit from past classes that I've had, and I just feel like with online teaching, there could be a break in that relationship. So getting to know the child and their family and the friends that they have, how they play outside with each other, how they speak to each other, I feel like that's a huge part of knowing the child and being able to be a better teacher for them. So I know that for myself, I wanted to be a teacher so that I could help students grow up to be just better humans, and not solely to teach curriculum, but even to focus on those social emotional aspects as well. And I feel that this could be difficult to foster such a relationship with online teaching, but I have not had that experience myself. So therefore, I believe that there are advantages and disadvantages to both, but ultimately, I just would tend to disagree with this statement myself because of how I prioritize relationships. The second response that I chose to write about was listening to our inner voice and finding and following that teacher within. So my hopes for online teaching and qualities that I have to share with my students. So first of all, I felt that the statement was true because people who are now teachers couldn't fathom the extent of technology and how we even use it today. I know that I'm not even that old, and the things that we can do with technology right now is incredible, and I never would have thought that in my lifetime, just being a student in elementary school myself and watching it grow to be a young teacher right now, it's amazing how quickly that it moves. But I do see that from our Module 1 content, there are incredible benefits to online teaching when it's done effectively. So I hope that I'm able to use aspects of online teaching with my first grade students so that I can enhance what I am doing in the classroom. I'm not one to just use technology for the sake of using it, so I'm just excited to learn how I can utilize these online instructional tools or anything that I can do to enhance my own online teaching for my students, and how I can effectively implement that into a primary classroom. Some qualities that I would like to share with my students: I know that I have a love for learning, and I try to bring that into my classroom every day. So I get really, really excited throughout our lessons and all contents, sometimes to the point where I get really strange looks from my students as I talk about rocks and how exciting they are, or different math strategies. I definitely have a passion for STEM, problem solving, and ocean conservation. So these are just a couple of the things that I hope to pass on for my students and to model this for them all the time. I just feel like they're our future, and I hope to teach them the skills that are necessary so that they can find their field of interest and tackle that with a passion as they get older. Moving on to the cyber school commercials and our standards. So for the K-12 commercial, they did claim to work with students to help develop a curriculum, and that was in the tech. I found that that had a relationship with standards C and D in the technical skills. They also noted how they refer back to the student goals and reassess to see if new goals need to be created for each student. Again, I found that this kind of related to a technical skills standard, so that was standard B. In the commercial, I did not feel that they really specifically referred to anything that was in domains 1, 2, or 3 from the standards, but they did just focus a lot on those technical skills, and I feel like they might have had a lot of alignment with those standards in that domain. For the Connections Academy, I felt that they actually seemed to address a lot of the domain content, the mindsets. They talked a lot about creativity, imagination, the drive in the students. They discussed about independent and self-directed learning that the students would have. I felt like they really prioritized the whole child, so they got a little bit of that social emotional bit in there. Versus the differentiated curriculum, which I feel like the K-12 school focused a lot more on the differentiated curriculum in their commercial versus teaching the whole child. And then lastly, the Carpe Diem schools. I felt like this commercial, first off, was pretty short and it wasn't as informative as the other ones were. It was difficult for me to kind of figure out what they did prioritize as a school and as far as the standards go. One thing that they did mention was that they offered online and face-to-face schools and opportunities for online learning or blended learning. So going back to those blended standards, they did reflect that they had those opportunities, but they didn't really show what extent this blended learning model reflects in our standards. So I hope you learned a little bit about me and enjoyed my presentation. Thank you for watching.